Hi, I'm AX Shredz, and these are 10 questions you guys asked me that I will be answering for you today.
First question.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you played guitar?
I've been playing guitar for 8 years, approaching 9, January 2nd.
Okay. Second, first guitar.
My first guitar was a Starcaster, not to be confused with the Stratocaster. The only difference, really, I'll put a picture up here. The only difference was that the Starcaster was just extremely light, so by the time I got an actual Strat, or just honestly any other guitar after that, it was like I needed to adjust to the actual weight of like other guitars. I bought it at a local guitar shop that unfortunately isn't around anymore. It was called Lane Music Center. And with the purchase of my first guitar, they gave me a month of like free lessons, or actually I think it was like you had to pay for it, but they gave us a discount for it. And basically I only went to like 2. The first one, they taught me how to hold a pick and how to hit a string, and then the second lesson they were going over like how to play like the first fret on like the E string. I took it upon myself to start being self-taught after that, just because I found it to be too slow paced for me. A little bit of background: I went into purchasing this guitar just wanting to play dime bag riffs and solos. So it was a rude awakening once I realized how hard it was and how ambitious it was for me to want to attempt that as my first songs. I was watching Mob Wives earlier, and they showed like a clip of the music center, and it just made me really happy to see it just like on film anywhere. It just brought back so many memories. I still go to a local guitar shop now. It's called Rustic Music Center. Shout out to Rustic. Shout out to Christina and Nick. You guys are the best. They actually helped me get this guitar that you guys see right here, and we collaborated on a video on Instagram for my SG unboxing.
Ooh. Third question. Your favorite guitar brand?
My favorite guitar brand is Jackson, and mainly because of Bullet for My Valentine. I don't have any like flying V's, but they make Jackson look so cool. Now I have a Jackson Dinky and a Jackson X Series in silver. It's limited edition. I always wanted a Dean or a Schecter, and I do plan on getting one of those soon in the future.
Right. And you will. First song you played?
The first song I played, the first song I attempted to play was Knives and Pens, because I watched a video playthrough. I'm going to post the link. Hopefully I could find the exact same video. I'm pretty sure the last time I checked it's still up there. But when I watched it, it was a playthrough of the song with tabs, and that encouraged me more to dive into guitar, because I think the music notes kind of like intimidated me at first, but once I discovered that there's like a different route, which is tabs, it looked easy. And also like big props, he made it look easy. It was just amazing playing. So that was the first song I tried attempting. And then once I failed at it, I basically left my guitar in the corner to collect dust. In 6th grade, a friend introduced me to My Chemical Romance, and when I listened to it, it just sounded so much easier to play compared to Pantera and Black Veil Brides. So I believe I successfully was able to play the intro of Welcome to the Black Parade. And then technically my first song that I was able to play fully would be I'm Not Okay.
Okay. Fifth question. Who's your favorite guitarist?
I couldn't choose just one guitarist for this question, but my explanation is basically Dimebag inspired me to pick up and play the guitar, and Frank Iero inspired me to want to perform.
Sixth question. Favorite picks?
My favorite guitar picks are the Jim Dunlop Jazz 3s Max Grip. and 1.38 millimeters. I think that's the only size that they come in. Just in general, I never go below 1 millimeters. I'm very comfortable with 1 millimeter or slightly above. I've tried the 2 millimeters and 3 millimeters in like the teardrop picks right here. They definitely were like a big help. Like they're definitely beginner friendly. I remember using the 2 and 3 millimeter ones a lot when I first started playing guitar.
But you got tiny fingers.
Yeah, and actually when I first got my guitar, I was playing everything with just like my fingers, because the guitar pick that they gave me was like, I think it was like 0.3 or something like that. It was very floppy. So I just thought I could throw that idea out and wanted to train myself to play with my fingers. And then once I discovered like thicker picks like that, I don't know, it boosted up my guitar game by like a lot.
So 7th question. Your favorite strings, love?
I like Ernie Ball strings. They're actually the brand that I used for years when I first started playing guitar. And then recently, I would say like 3 years ago, Christina from Rustic Music Center put me onto NYXL because I told her that she asked me what tuning I like to play in, and I said drop C. And she put me onto NYXL, and I've actually fell in love with those recently and have been using those ever since. Nice. Except for standard. For standard, I still use Ernie Bowls, regular Slinkies.
Fantastic. 8th question. What amp do you use?
Currently, I'm using the Fender Mustang, the first one, version 2. But I used to have, when I first started doing covers, I had a Fender Champ 20. And honestly, that's been my favorite combo amp till this day. I don't know what happened to it. Well, I do know what happened to it, but like, let's just say it went missing.
What was your first amp?
My very first amp was a California CG15, I believe. My dad bought it on Craigslist along with a Lion by Washburn. He found one on Craigslist because he didn't know how serious I was going to take guitar. It was kind of like a test run. And also for like my first year of playing guitar, I never ever used an amp. So it was pretty mind-blowing actually, because I had like that whole year to build up I had that whole year to sharpen my technical guitar playing skills. So it was just mind-blowing that once I plugged myself into an amp, it sounded pretty great.
You loved it?
I loved it. I fell in love. I fell in love very much instantly with guitar, more than I could have imagined once I actually got to the point of hearing myself through an amp for the first time. It was really, I wouldn't change a thing about my guitar journey. I'm actually going to make a second video to go more in depth with it, because why not?
Rhythm or lead?
Lead all the way. Rhythm is really fun though, and I actually take that route if, for example, I went a long time without playing guitar. I'll very much just do rhythm to break in my fingers again, and like the calluses especially, basically. Yeah, lead
So
all the way.
There we go, we got lead. 10th question. Final question. Why did you choose covers?
Question of the year. Can I get my cup of water, because I'm gonna need it for this freaking story. Do they know every time you're saying it? Because it's being perfectly timed every time.
One that I want to know myself.
Maybe that's a sign that I shouldn't share this story.
No. We all need to hear it, okay? Why covers? Why did you choose to do covers?
There's quite a background story to that, actually, that I've been holding back from everyone, and I'm actually pretty excited to share. So the background story that I've mentioned here and there on my Instagram but never actually explained and got to was Well, we're gonna take it all the way back to freshman year of high school for this one. Freshman winter break, actually. Um, I wasn't feeling the best at that time period, and to be blunt, I guess you could say I was depressed. I was going through depression. And so the first day back to school from winter break was January 2nd. And it must have been either fourth or fifth period because I remember I had gym first period, and then I had ELA second period, and then I had lunch third period. Like that schedule kind of sucked, especially for like your first year of high school, just any year of high school. Having gym first period, top of the morning, already being tired by the time you go upstairs to English, and then having to look at a book with the tiniest letters, it just, I remember that. Like, those mornings were rough that year. And then I had lunch third period. Like, we had, like, the first period of lunch as well. So, so it must have been fourth or fifth period, and it was social studies. And basically, we were all settling in the classroom because the bell didn't ring yet for class to be back in session. And then I sat behind this kid who was like best friends with like the two popular girls in our academy that I never really talked to. I was like, for background, I was never popular. I would say I was well known just because like people talked more about me than actually come up to me and get to know me. Whatever. So basically, I sat behind him, and I'll never forget it because he just randomly turned around and looked at me straight in the eye and told me, "You know, no one likes you, right?" And I didn't argue with it because of the fact that I took it as a sign that maybe I was right about the fact that I'm better off not living anymore. And then once the bell rang for class to be back in session again, I remember not really being focused on what we were talking about that day in class because I was just plotting in my head how I was going to take my life away. Um, so once the bell rang, I basically skipped the rest of the school day and went straight home. And once I was in my room, because no one was home at the time, my parents were working and then my siblings were also in school themselves. So then once I made it back home, I was basically home alone too as well, because both of my parents were working that day and my siblings were in school themselves. So I spent just another couple of minutes in my room contemplating how I'm gonna do it, going through with it, like the whole process. And then I just remember I don't remember if like I stood up first or if I was sitting down and then looked at my guitar and my amp and then I stood up. But basically, I remember looking at my guitar and amp and just thinking to myself, I might not be liked, I might not be popular, but one thing about me is I could play guitar. And I'm a damn good guitar player at that. And no one can take that away from me. And with that thought, instantly, I placed my phone directly on my amp, hit record, picked up my guitar and sat on the floor, and it took me about 5 to 10 minutes of playing back to back to back to back until I got the perfect take. Afterwards, I went through like 10 minutes of guitar footage, just going through it and narrowing it down to the best take of that video. And right after, I uploaded it to Instagram because I was a meme page before, and it was something different. It was something different, and I don't know exactly what I expected, but I just remember that after I uploaded it, I got an overwhelming response that I just, like I said, I didn't expect. It was so much support, so much love. It was overwhelming. And then from there, like something clicked where I was like, this is what I was meant to do today. So that's basically the background for how I started guitar cover / my guitar journey / the context of January 2nd for me. So there's a background story to how that came about. All right, thank you. You're done. Alrighty.
I will be picking up my paycheck too.
Okay. I'll Venmo you the $5 tomorrow.
Oh, surely.
Thank you.